Hello and welcome to another really interesting episode of the Munib Nawaz show, as we call it. I think we still call it that, but today's show is really interesting for me because I get to speak to one of my friends who has done so much, has had a very interesting life already, and I think it's just getting started right now. And from somebody who's taken professional sports to acting to activism to a point where, Hijrat was also one of the cards that she had already played. So, without further ado, the one and only, the beautiful Madam Naeema Butt.
Hello.
What is up, man? Thank you so much for taking our time and being here, man. It was long overdue.
Yes, I'm so happy to be here.
What's been up? How's life happening? What's going on?
I just came back from America and I'm here. It's my fourth today. And just, meeting with my friends and in a way finding myself like always.
Yes. So finding yourself is awesome because last time we also spoke about things that, were going in one direction, the other direction, things are going on and off. And you've also been writing a lot, and one of your films was all about finding home.
Mm-hmm.
Have you been able to discover what home is?
Well, my short film Home is something which I am planning to maybe put on my YouTube channel, and there is an answer in that film. I don't know how much I can talk about that, but yes.
You can talk about it. What is home for you?
Home for me is... Should I tell it? That's going to tell what's in the film. The suspense is going to be over.
No,
it's my film.
People will still... Actually, they will watch it when people watch the interviews of the actors. That's when they go and watch the film.
Yes, I know. Well, I think for me... I don't think that I'm going to share that. I think that film needs to be seen.
Okay. So...
But honestly, I feel like rather than what I was doing earlier in my life was always searching and looking for a home outside.
Yes.
So there's something linked to it.
Like that.
And the journey of the film is basically the same journey that you are searching for a home and you're trying to find where you belong. And I shot that film in New York. So when I left Pakistan in 2019, and I left with the intention of, okay, I'm moving to America. And then COVID hit hard in New York and it was really bad. That's the time when I had some experiences over there. So it's basically a journey, wherever you go, you leave the country, you leave the city, you meet another person, you look home in humans, in places, in careers, in things, in achievements,
Yeah.
But where do you really belong? Where is home? That's the journey which I want people to see it. And then
because you see, that's the conversations that we have overhead. The home for me is primarily within yourself. Whatever you look for and seek the external validation, no matter what you achieve, you always end up looking for something else, and you always end up looking for something more. And till the time you connect with what is inside you, you never end up really understanding where home and you is. And the moment you get to do that, that's when life begins, so to say.
That's the issue which I personally experienced, that you are basically running from yourself, running away. You don't want to accept it. You don't want to accept what is within you. Sometimes my whole life, I've done so many things. Some people, they see my resume, they're like, oh my God, in such a young age, you've done everything. You're working in TV, you worked in AI, and you've been a soccer player. What's up with you, right? Explored everything, which is great. But at some point you realize that, what am I running from? So what you said about everything is within yourself, are you even looking inside yourself? Are you accepting it? Are you let me go out?
Yeah.
For everything. So have you figured out the validation thing from outside, or?
No, for me, it has all again been a journey, and so far it's still a journey, and the journey in itself is the destination for me. I feel like that's how I roll. You know, every step has
ये आसानी से कह दिया आपने, journey is the destination for me.
it. By the end of it, you know, when you understand the nuance that it is simple. It's not easy to accept, but that's what you have to accept by the end of it. But like you said, so question: what is life and the purpose of life for you? Like you said, you've already achieved so much, mashallah, mashallah. I saw your Instagram, you're talking to people in New York, talking about the AI instructor names and all of that stuff. But so you've achieved the soccer playing, you've achieved the acting, you've achieved the screenwriting, you've achieved, you were putting things, you were judging films in New York. So, you know, all of that stuff done. What is the big goal that you now have?
To be in the moment, just to be. I am here and I'm being with myself, not abandoning myself anymore, not running away from myself.
And is that difficult to get to?
It's very sad at some point because it brings a lot of sadness, a lot of pain, a lot of traumas. But again, I feel like it's all about acceptance. And acceptance doesn't come easily. It takes a lot of time and it's hard, you know. So, but I just, I think now finally I'm being strong. This is called strength. I feel that I'm like, okay, yeah, I'm feeling this. I have to sit with it, feel it, you know. So
tell me the process. Tell me how. Because last time when we met, you were going through the confusions of whether to accept what is happening or whether to create what should happen. And today there is a little bit of uneasiness while you say it, but I also feel there's a lot more acceptance. And with acceptance without surrender, you know, till you let go of that personal ana and the ego where you end up wanting more, you can accept what is, but without surrendering your ego to the present self of you, you can't. And like you said, just be. And I think once anybody understands just the sense of being, that's it. That's just, no matter how painful it is, that's the only eventuality that you will have to accept. So what was your process for you to get there or in getting there?
Well, it's a journey, as you also mentioned, still going on. And it's not like, oh, I have awakened myself and I am aware now. I mean, I am way more better than before, I would say, when it comes to awakening and, you know, accepting. But my process was, I just remember that when I went to New York and the COVID hit hard and I was by myself, and then I went through my, you know, personal journey and I was all alone. My family was here. People were dying, my, you know, cousins, and I didn't even know what's going to happen. I got COVID myself. I lost my sense of smell and taste for months. And then I was going through that process. What happened was that I just start sitting with myself, as I mentioned. Because before what was happening, I used to get anxiety and being like panic attacks, and I used to run, you know. I didn't realize that running is not the solution. What am I doing? I'm basically delaying the process of healing. I'm running and I was like, oh, I want to go somewhere, you know, I want to do some get-togethers, I want to be with someone and all of that. Friends, where are my friends? There was no one. Everyone was gone. New York was like empty. Times Square was like, all the lights were on. There was no people, no one over there. So I think for some reason, I was put in a circumstance where I have to be with myself, and I just started being with myself. And all the panic attacks and whatever I was feeling, I started observing my body, that where exactly I'm feeling it.
Interesting.
And I remember I met this, my good friend, who is my good friend now. His name is John, from the spiritual Facebook group, Eckhart Tolle. group, which is about like the power of now, his book, and it's amazing.
One of my favorite things.
And I just, of course, when you're alone, for me, when I am alone, most of my time is spent finding soul, finding Allah, and, questions about life and what's going on. What is this? As a the quality of self is very curious. That is one of the biggest, I'm always very curious about life and everything. So I remember that there was an incident and I was having a severe panic attack, and I was talking to my good friend now, John, who was like, I connected over Facebook. I was posting my issues over there in the group about questions about life and healing. And he replied, and he's a life coach. And I called him and he's like, okay, so what are you feeling? I'm like, I'm having, I'm sweating and I'm by myself and I'm not okay and this is that. And he's like, okay, just sit with yourself. Just be with yourself and just try to find where is in your body. And I'm like, what is he talking about, right? Abhi mujhe panic attack ho raha hai. I need some, better solution for that. He's like, no, you have to just sit with yourself. Just feel it in your body. And I started sitting with myself and feeling it. And I remember that I closed my eyes and I was feeling it in my stomach. It's like started getting like, I felt like this heat here and a pain, like weird, strong pain here. And I'm like, oh my God. And I kept here. So that's where my trauma was stuck. I never knew that trauma stays in the body. And then I started feeling it. I'm feeling it and my eyes are closed. And then I started having flashbacks of my childhood. A random scene with my father, that I'm waiting on him and he's not coming home, And when I was little, I used to wait for him and, in his footsteps. Mujhe gali mein aate hue, I used to hear that. So here also I was feeling lonely and I was also like, someone will come and all of that. I don't know, but I started having flashbacks of my childhood. And I opened my eyes, I'm like, what was that? So that was the initiation of my process. And then till this date, I pause, I stop, and I feel what's going on in my body. I give that attention to myself, which I was seeking from outside, Now I'm giving that attention to myself. What is happening in my body? Where is it coming from? And it comes very intense. It's not going to be like, oh, you do it right now and you'll be like, oh, I'm healed now. No. You have to keep on doing it whenever it comes. Then what happens? The intensity is like reduced and you are above दोस्त बन गए हैं और अब आपकी बॉडी को आप खुद सुन रहे हैं आप खुद को ही नहीं सुनते हम लोग तो आदत ही नहीं है हम चाहते हैं तुम हमें सुनो but we don't want to listen ourselves no we don't want to deal with that but you listen to me. So as I listening to myself, listening to my body, I still do it and I just pause and reflect and observe. That's what is my process.
That is so awesome, man. I'm so glad that you brought that because you see, everybody who is going through the trauma, they don't understand that they're going through trauma. They've already been through the trauma and it's already inside them. And unless you have the ability to give yourself, the unconditional love is only within. Everybody else will have an agenda or the other and they will probably have something or the other to say that they're experiencing. And they will probably guide you through their experiences rather than you coming up with your own understanding of it, your father and other things as well. So I think that was awesome. So when you started discovering this trauma inside you and the healing process started, I generally say how you deal with the situation is how you heal from a situation. So when you started doing these sort of like, this is what meditation is, this is what prayer is, that you center yourself, you align yourself with what is the power of now. And so now that you've kind of discovered that, is there such a thing called the big goal that is left?
I think my big goal is to, as I mentioned earlier, is to be in the present moment and be with myself and keep on practicing this unless it comes very natural to me.
And what about professional goals?
I feel like जब मैंने ये sort out करना शुरू किया है, the moment I have started being with myself, everything is it's like coming together, which is like, again, then it's just an illusion. I was living in an illusion. कि मैं बाहर करूँगी तो मैं अंदर से अच्छा feel करूँगी. Honestly, it's not like that. I'm more content. I'm not like, I'm still like, there's so many things I'm going through, as everyone goes through their, in life, issues happen. I'm dealing with a lot right now too, but I'm more like, I'm able to survive. I'm able to go through it because I've realized that professional goals, वो उर्दू इंग्लिश मिक्स जब हो जाती है ना, मुझे ड्रामा करना है तो उसमें मुझे उर्दू बोलनी है, मुझे अपनी इंग्लिश so professional जितने भी aim, ambitions, and I don't know, it's just like I'm being with myself and I'm writing. What I'm writing is also not me. I've stopped taking credit because I feel like it just comes. So it's coming to me. I'm just being there. I'm present and just like writing it out. Same, I'm doing that with acting. I'm not acting. I'm being there, present. The definition of acting has changed for me because before I used to judge my emotions. I used to judge my past emotions and then cry, on screen. Think about something bad that happened with you. What exactly are you doing? You're playing with your mind. You're going to that. And then you live that for 6 months. If it's a drama, you're like on 4 months. So you're like shooting for that. So I'm more like, now I act, I'm more present. I feel like I want to change this word acting. It's not acting, it's being present.
Everything ends up being that. Okay, so if you were to go back to, again, just kind of not being in the moment and being in the moment and yet bringing your younger self back, what would you tell the younger Naeema that, this you are doing right, wrong? What would be the 2-3 lessons you would give her?
No, actually for that, I bring my little Naeema to the present moment very often.
Okay.
She might be sitting with me right now too. What's up? So my little Naeema, you won't even believe that when I started connecting with my little inner child, which you call, I was with her on the train station, subways in New York. I was holding her hand, So many times she's still in my present moment. She comes and she's there. She stays there. People will be like, what is she talking about? I was telling this to one of my friend, Pakistani American friend, and she was like, wow, oh my God, that's so intense and scary. And I had this conversation with her that I'm with her. I just, because, whatever happened in those moments, it was meant to happen and it happened.
Yes.
It's not like, I remember there was one psychologist I was meeting and she did hypnosis, and she was like, she put me back to my childhood and she was like, okay, now change the situation, which I did it for that moment. And then, in your head, you feel like, okay, you've changed the situation, you've changed the past, and you've kind of healed. But I don't know, for me, I feel like, for me, it's more of, I advocate for accepting.
Nice.
I don't know, what do you think about
No, I think that's the only way to kind of deal with the situation, because the thing is, you can't change the past, right? So the only thing you end up doing is either accepting it and surrendering to it, and then bringing your current self into that moment and saying, she did the best she could. Under the situation, under her exposure, under her circumstances, she did the best she could. And that's all you've got to deal with, and you just have to accept that, because if you don't accept that, what are you doing? You're resisting.
Yes.
You're resisting your present self. And when you start resisting your present self, the present self will still exist. The only thing is you're looking away. And that creates the ego and the negative side of the ego. I love ego. I think it's a good part of you.
Healthy ego.
Yeah.
It can protect you from things. So ego for me also was now, I'm still practicing it, and to be better and to have it come natural to me. But yes, I think there are 3 things you can do about a situation, current situation. again, powerhouse now, which I learned and it really helps. Number one is try to change the situation. If you are in a current situation right now, which you're going through, so try to change the situation. Can you change the situation? Okay, then change it. Not working. Second, then leave the situation. Can you leave the situation? Yes? Okay, leave it. Cannot leave it? Okay, now what? Third is accept the situation. Do not resist. और ये आसान नहीं है. और ये जो 3 चीजें हैं, accept it, leave it, or change it, you know. इसको ऐसे करिए. So, you know, so that's where I am at, and that's what I practice. And I don't know if you are also, what's your journey? You're also you work a lot on yourself too. Whenever I talk to you, I feel like, you know, there are very few people who you can connect with. And I do not connect with a lot of people. Not saying that because I am, you know, whatever, but I do not connect because of these kind of conversations I can't have with everyone. But with you, I always felt like you will understand me at some level. What do you think? What is that these 3 levels are for you too?
I think my 4th is surrender. My
Acceptance.
Yeah. So acceptance is what it is, right?
Okay.
But the fact that also sometimes we accept a situation, but we want something else. As long as there is a but, you will always keep seeking the but, whether it's Naeema Butt or it's a or it's a but. So for me,
Any other but.
or any other but. So the question always for me is, can I surrender? You know, change it if you can. By all means, you work the hardest. Always be the hardest worker in the room. Always be the most prepared person in the room. And if you are, can you change it? Do your best to change it. And if you can't change it, like you said, leave it. If you can't leave it, accept it and leave the but. And leave the but, because that's what it is then. And enjoy it.
You're going to love my script. I've written another script, which I'm going to, inshallah, shoot soon in Pakistan and America, one half of it. And it is about exactly what you have mentioned. So you were asking it, that's the script about. She just mentioned about acceptance and surrender. That is it. And yeah. Yes.
So tell me a little bit about the younger Naeema. Soccer was on the cards for you, literally speaking. And how did soccer become like a passion? Was it your father? How did it happen?
I always, you know, when I was very little, I feel like I still remember I was that sensitive child who wanted connection and attention. I was that child, you know, every child, I think.
I wonder which child doesn't want that.
Yeah, I need to accept it. But for that reason, I remember that I used to get really hurt when my friends used to not talk to me. And I was like, my mom used to call their parents, कि आपकी बेटी मेरी बेटी से बात कर लें, वो बहुत परेशान है. You know, I was that kid. So I was like too much hypersensitive. And then I realized that I found a lot of joy in physical and extracurricular activities in where I could speak, like debates, acting, Goldilocks and Three Mama Bears wo hote the usme zamane mein maine wo kiye the, and I got Best Actress award. Anyway, so you know, I've been acting since that age. But I always was like, so extracurricular activities was like, for me, it was my life. It was like, wow, I was so happy doing that. Never interested in studies, but more of in that. So I started playing tennis from school ki jo team banti hai sports ki. So I became a DPS, Division of Public School, and I started playing tennis. And after playing tennis, so wahi jo, I was really good at it. And then jo sports ke log hote hain, students, they put it in a new sports jo bhi aa rahi hoti hai. You know, okay, acha, same like. So soccer was being introduced in Pakistan for the first time for girls. And there was like the British Football Federation, wahan se unhone bheja, or you know, or I remember Sir Munib Butt was the first coach. He was a boys coach in DPS, but then he was training girls. So pure Pakistan mein first time schools mein उन्होंने भेजे men coach to train girls. First time ever it was introduced. So it was a new sport. And I started learning it, and I was good at it. I learned it quickly, and then because I was already into sports, and then we had an inter-school competition. Sare schools ka hua, LGS वगैरह, DPS and Beacon House, जो हमेशा tough competition देता था. But then we won DPS. We performed really well. और फिर सारे schools में से ना उन्होंने best players select किए. And then best players select करके उन्होंने कैंप लगाया पंजाब का. जैसे बलोचिस्तान में एक कैंप लगा, पंजाब में एक कैंप लगा, फिर सिंध में एक कैंप लगा, different provinces, जितने भी provinces थे. So I got selected there. Then I was in a Punjab camp, वो लगा, फिर उसमें से उन्होंने short list की जो 21 और I don't remember कि playing team थी वो football की, Punjab team की. Then I got selected in that. So it was a journey, and then we had a first ever national football championship in Pakistan for girls in 2005. And I was in my 8th grade, I guess. And then Punjab won the competition. Wow. So we were the gold medalist. And then usme se there was a Pakistani camp. Of course, we were the winning team. So usme se we were part of that. And then I played for different, like HSC, I played for sports sciences, I played for police club. फिर तो मैंने 8 साल I played from different clubs. अफगानिस्तान के साथ मैच हुआ, ईरान के साथ मैच हुआ, and ईरान ने तो बहुत बुरी तरह हमें हराया था, but अफगानिस्तान के साथ we won. But so that I played for 8 years in my life, and then that was a lot of my exposure as a kid or as a young girl was exposed by soccer, because we were in a camp, national camp, the national championship in Islamabad, where all people from different parts of Pakistan used to come, girls, and stay together. Nice. So for me, that opening and then the corruption in FIFA, it was a great experience.
Good old days. Yes. But we're not going to get into that because...
No, we won't talk about it. I mean, it's okay. It happens. Yeah. There are good times and bad times.
So what was your support system then and now?
I think that time my father was my support system. He was the one who always encouraged me and kind of spoiled me, whatever they say, that you're being spoiled by your father. I don't know, but yeah. So my father was my support system. Very strong. Yeah.
People go through fear of failure. And we were talking about loss and we were talking about failures, but I think there's no such thing as failure in my life. And I think these are all lessons that we end up learning. And I keep saying that there's very little that you learn in victory. There's a lot more that you learn in loss. It's just the mind frame, the frame of mind you're in terms of receiving. Sometimes somebody else wins. It's okay, but you also win. But so the last time we were talking about something which was fear of failures, but then we kind of shifted that conversation to the more essential thing that generally people don't discuss, which is the fear of success, because that changes people. Yep. That creates this whole new aura around you that, you start doubting yourself, because what if you become the better version of yourself? Then people around you will change, or they would want you to remain the same. And that really ends up being a tricky situation for so many people. So what is more eminent for you right now in terms of the fear? Is it failure? Is it success? And how are you dealing with that situation?
I think that for me, in my life journey, there has been a lot of people, friends, that came into my life because I was moving, so I had to keep on moving, But there are moments where, because success comes with the price. The price is that your relationships, and because they want your time, and they want the same Naeema, they want the same Munib, But I feel like this is still, I'm working on it. Detachment, which is like not being attached. And it's hard because, of course, you have a fear of losing that person or that, relationship. And and now you have to detach. And then some part of you is like so scared, you know? It's like, no, because change is gonna come with that. And fear of unknown, fear of not being familiar. I learned this new thing about this word familiar, which comes from family. Yes. The link between both of them. And it's because you're familiar, you know? And it's fearful to leave that space which you have created. Sometimes you realize that space is not so safe. But still for you, it's safe because it's familiar. Yes. You know?
Yeah. Comfort zone.
Comfort zone. It's my comfort zone. Whatever happens, I go back to the same person or the same place or the same room or the same home, which you call, because I'm comfortable there. I can sleep there, you know, with peace. The thing that you're calling peace is basically your comfort. The confusion between peace. I'm at peace there. No, dude, you're not at peace there. You're so comfortable. So that's what I feel like I'm still in the process of that. And but I'm more like, again, we started this conversation where you felt a little bit of heaviness when I shared with you that I am being. So that's the heaviness coming from, because I know that change is going to happen and it's certain. That's the only certain thing. So I am being with that process, and it's not easy. It's very heavy because I know that here I am now and I might lose this person or lose this career or lose this, you know. So the heaviness of that is with me.
So you mentioned so many things in this little time, and this is so cool because, you know, you mentioned attachment, relationships, comfort zone, the fear of losing somebody, and this the familiar comfort situation, I think. So number one, and the most essential, is the peace versus comfort zone. For me, I've distinguished the two. And you know, the word that you use is being at peace and being in your comfort zone. So when you are in a comfort zone, that's something else. But an at, you get to an at. It is a destination. So when you get to peace, it becomes your comfort zone. And the unfamiliar zone, generally we have this tendency of remaining within our sort of like what we call the comfort zone, or familiar spaces, familiar people. And when you talked about the sort of the attachments and the fear of losing somebody when the change comes, I think any relationship that is based on the neediness of attachment does not really last in the long term of things. I feel like, you know, if that person sees the potential in you or sees you being yourself and your most authentic self, if they want to remain there, that's what their current self requires, and you should be in that relationship as an equal partner of presence. But if somebody feels like, you know, you have changed or whatever in your head, then it's, you know, then it's not yours for you to be like, no, I will remain whatever you want me to remain rather than what I need to become.
And I have tried that, to stay there. Stagnant. And I'm like, you know what? No, I don't want to lose this person. And I have struggled with that my whole life. Either it's my parents or my mother, especially because my relationship with her has been like a roller coaster where she expected me in a different way. And I always was like, you know, yes. You know, when you were sharing this, I had this feeling, which I want to share, and the flashback, that whenever I leave Pakistan, for the first time I left Pakistan in 2012 when I got a scholarship for UGrad, and I remember that the feeling I had leaving the country of, you know, it was like ghabarana wali, you know, like whenever I used to leave the home, abhi tak mujhe wo feeling aati hai. Even if I'm leaving home and going to work, because I know I'm ja rahi hu, to pura din mera I'm going to be busy. And I'm leaving and I have that feeling, you know. It's the same feeling in relationship when it's when I'm getting the project or I'm going to do something or I'm making my own, art or whatever it is. And I have to go for work somewhere, or I know this is going to take me a little out of this place. Same feeling of thori, I don't know, ki ghabrahat si. So that feeling stays with you for some time. I'm not gonna lie that, oh, I am awesome because I don't, wo to mujhe feeling hi nahi koi aa rahi waisi, and no, it still is there. It's just like, again, accepting it. Okay.
So I probably know the answer, but I'm still going to ask this question. What would be the one thing that you'd like to do?
You know the answer. Nothing.
Yes.
Nothing.
And the reason why I asked you that is because when the younger Naeema is watching, and whoever is the younger Naeema outside, they're going through a lot of this sort of self-questions that, oh, what if I did not do that? But if you did not do that, you would not be the person you are. And that's the person that you need to be today and to accept yourself. What is fame for you? And what has fame done for you?
Fame for me was always a way to connect with people. And I don't know, people see fame in a different way. And I don't know if it has changed for me, but now I have this realization that, because I sit down with myself a lot and I ask this question that, why do you want to do this? If something is coming to me, which I'm not very happy with the script, let's say, and I'm like, okay, I'm not going to be on screen for a whole year, right? Because I want to do something else. I want to write myself. So it's a great way to connect with people. So then you can share what you really want to share, right? But again, fame can also sometimes disconnect you with yourself. And when it does that, I don't need that kind of fame. So you have to be very careful. And that's what I'm doing right now. I'm being very careful that where I want to connect, to some extent, I'm taking it and taking advantage of it. It helps me to connect. But yes, I don't want to go to that extent where I'm like doing things for fame. That's it. And then I'm lost myself. I'm disconnected with myself so much. I'm not even, fame is not serving the purpose now.
Okay. So another question that I want to ask is when you're vulnerable, when you're weak, because obviously, when you've got these things sorted, you're like, oh my God, I'm so cool. I'm rolling in the situation. But there's still, I'm sure, moments when things are not as clear as sometimes when you're sitting on the podcast. You only have to bring in the A game, right? And when you're alone, there obviously would be times that things creep up on you.
Yeah.
In your vulnerable times, do you have like a go-to mechanism, process that you feel like, like you've also mentioned that you sit with yourself, but when you're actually having a panic attack, when you're actually having sadness, dealing with depression, dealing with anxiety, because I know everybody deals with that and everybody has their own mechanisms on how to counter that. What is yours?
Okay, so recently, last time I met you, it was a year ago. And this year, that's a big, big change in my life, which I never really knew that. I don't know why, I don't know, but anyway. So I've recently started, it's so much like, I feel it so much that I'm even fumbling. I'm like, I have started doing two things. I've started singing.
Oh.
And I've started whirling dervish. And I was just, that was my, I remember that I went through such a, very, very, I was in a very bad spot and I was crushed and I was so sad and so depressed. And I remember that at that moment, and फिर ऐसा भी होता है कि कुछ ऐसी चीज़ें जिसमें आपने let go और surrender करना हो, उसकी अल्लाह की तरफ से, सोर्स की तरफ से आपको लोग अप्रोच करते हैं और आपको बुलाते हैं. So I get a call from a friend of mine who was not very close friend of mine, but she saw me in different Sufi gatherings, zikr ki gatherings में whirling. And she calls me, and she's a professional dancer, and she's like, and she whirls too, and she's being taught how to whirl. So she called me one day randomly when I was going through such a hard time, right? And she's like, Naeema, I want to ask you something. I'm doing this, we're doing this performance, and I want you to perform with me. And I'm like, what do you want me to do? She's like, whirling. I'm like, dude, I am not a professional whirler. I just do it. I don't know. She's like, I've seen you. Would you like to join rehearsal? And let's see. I'm like, okay. And I go there, and then she gives me this dress to wear, black. And I just wear it. And she just tells me that footsteps. She's like, okay. And there's other dancer who's also a professional. They're both her dance teachers. And she's like, okay, you have to, when you whirl, that's how you have to do your footsteps. That's one thing she taught me. I'm like, okay, like this? She's like, yeah. So the side, you open this way, you keep going, And now I'm not standing, so I can't show you properly and no one can see. But I was like, okay. She taught me that, and I started it. And then I just started it. And I didn't stop. And she was like, okay. And she started teaching the other girl. And then what happens, and after I stopped, she's like, so you were performing with us. And I performed with them professionally, but honestly, that's my new thing of whirling, because whirling is everything. It's just a circle. And whirling and singing. So that's what I would say. And singing for me is like, there are things I cannot express in words. There are feelings, some kind of feelings, जो कि मेरे पास जिनके लिए अल्फाज नहीं है. हम सब इस चीज़ से गुजरते होंगे कि कुछ चीज़ ऐसी होती हैं जो डिफाइन ही नहीं की जा सकती, जो आप फील करते हो. कभी कभी लोग कहते हैं ना, यार तुम मुझे समझ ही नहीं सकते. मैं क्योंकि मैं तो बता ही नहीं सकता. तो वो I feel like I can sing and I can just release. It's a weird way, but I am loving it, and it helps me to calm down. I do that. I'm crying, something happens. I'm crying, I go to shower, I sing my heart out, and then I go out, to work, and I feel better.
Wow. I saw one of your Instagram posts, how to dress up after crying. Okay. So, last couple of things. Forgiveness.
Oh.
To self and to others.
So forgiveness, for me, I feel, I would say.
Thank you.
It's a process. It doesn't come like, I'm sorry. Okay, I forgive you. I don't think so. It works like that. It comes with your healing. It comes when you are healing. It doesn't come by saying, I forgive you. I remember that there's one person in my life who always comes back to me. It's been like 15, 16 years. Please forgive me. I'm like, dude, I forgave you like way back. Stop. They're like, no, please forgive me. I'm like, oh my goodness. And I realized, maybe I am just lying to him and myself. I've never really forgiven him. And he feels it, because energy can neither be formed nor be destroyed. It can only be transformed. So it's always there, So that forgiveness will come through healing. And I think we should stop expecting from people. We should definitely apologize. We should definitely do that and do good to the other person. But that will come on its own. Forgiveness to yourself also comes through your healing. I feel that, There are incidents where I'm like, oh, it's okay, Naeema, you've done that. I forgive you. I forgive you. It's okay. कोई बात नहीं. हुआ है ऐसे भी. पहले जो है वो मैं believe नहीं करती थी, क्योंकि self doubt इतना था, तो मैं अपने पे नहीं believe करती थी. I was like, no, that's not like, वैसी fake कहती थी.
You used to judge yourself.
Judge yourself. Yes. Now I feel like there is more like conviction, there's more like power, there's more honesty to it, because I feel like that is all process of my healing. Again, to be and just sit with yourself, and it's and that's why I think I have no regrets. I used to have regrets in the past. Now I'm like, I realize that the wisdom of life has taught me that, dude, that's part of life.
So in this sort of spiritual sort of journey, awakening, whatever, how much has religion kind of played into the whole situation? You kept mentioning, connecting to the universe, connecting to Allah, So how much of that has kind of made you closer to religion on a spiritual level, and what is that like for you?
I mean, it all started with Javed Lama Iqbal की किताब जब मैं छोटी थी. I remember that was a book. I still have it. एक बच्चों की book थी, कलर वो book सी बनी हुई थी, and there was like different seyaros, सफ़र, or you know, traveling and meeting self, or you know. So I think it always played a great role. Religion has been so much influence in my life, and there was one time I was like searching for why women rights. I was a women rights activist. I still am. And I was like, okay, why women is treated like that? It is because of Islam. Religion taught this. That religion is not good. But no, I studied about it. And not only Islam, I've researched on many other religions. One of my work, which I did for many years, was interfaith harmony and countering violence and extremism using theater of the oppressed and advocacy in all of my talks. And I used to organize events in different colleges and schools. So all the religions, they have played a really important role in my life. And especially Islam, I am so like, I feel like, alhamdulillah, that I was born in Pakistan and I was given this knowledge of Islam. And I had a lot of questions. I had a lot of questions for other religions too. All of the religions have played a very strong part in it. And I realize all of the religions teach mostly one thing. That one thing is where we started the conversation from. Being. Just being, and just, it is what it is.
Yes, to be or not to be, that is the question.
Yes, acceptance and surrender, whatever, I think the whole conversation we had, everything what we said, it's like all religions say that.
Yes, we will have a separate conversation on that, because I think, but I honestly, I want to add 2 cents of what I've discovered and I've studied different religions myself, because I think that's all religions generally end up saying the same thing. It's just the way we do things is different, but every religion has prayer.
The rituals, they're different.
The rituals are different. The operations are the same.
Yes.
Khair, but you also mentioned gender. And that's something that I feel like, I want you to kind of explain to me what is your feminism, and what is masculinity through your eyes.
Well, I don't even know what is feminism. I just don't want to get into definitions of anything. At this point, before अगर हम कुछ देर साल पहले मिले होते तो शायद मैं आपको बड़ी definitions दे रही होती और बहुत, but I think right now in my life, I see people as human, like men or women. I see them, they're human. They have been shaped by the circumstances of their childhood and their environment. That's what they're carrying with themselves. Who is working on themselves? Who is really working and taking it serious and, healing? And that has changed my scripts, narratives, everything right now. All of my stories are, before that I used to write theater, and all of those projects were very much like, girls and women oriented. Right now it's more like human oriented. It's more like mind, body, and spirit oriented, because that's where I am right now. So I think, I don't know if I answer your question, but
no, I think that's basically the gist of it. You are a human being, and if you can be yourself, and if you can deal with your situation and heal your situation, I think if 7 billion people start healing themselves, the world will be a much better place than what it is. But like you mentioned, people talk the talk but don't walk the walk.
Yeah.
So unless you're actually willing to put in the effort of actually healing, of actually taking out time and being sad for a bit and going deep into the whole sadness of it, and then realizing that has happened, and what is happening, and the more you deal with what has happened, the more present self you can come to, and eventually that's the goal. Eventually, like the religion also says, this is the book for those who seek the guidance.
Mm-hmm.
सबसे पहली चीज ही है ना, कि once you seek the guidance, that's when this, उसके आगे फिर पढ़ लें, फिर आगे अगर आप गाइडेंस ही नहीं सीख कर रहे तो फिर आप अभी आप इंजॉय करें अपनी जर्नी wherever you are.
और ये भी है ना कि तुमने ये किताब किस लिए खोली है और किस लिए आर यू सीकिंग गाइडेंस, जिस चीज़ के लिए जो तुम्हारी इंटेंशन थी दैट्स व्हाट यू गोना गेट. जिस चीज़ का तुम खुदा का जैसा गुमान करोगे मुझे वैसा ही पाओगे.
बिल्कुल.
It's basically that what exactly are you looking for?
Simon Sinek book is Start With Why. You know, that what is your purpose? And the more you kind of get deeper and deeper into your own purpose, the 3 levels of why, and that's when you will find, okay, what people start with the success, then go on to the money, and then the success, and then health, and then the peace. But eventually तो peace ही है ना. And I keep saying हम लोगों ने ना चौथी जमात में ही पढ़ा था इस्लाम का मतलब क्या होता है. इस्लाम का मतलब होता है सलामती. सलामती का मतलब क्या होता है. Peace. So anybody.
And where does submission comes? Submission to peace. Yeah.
So the eventual goal is to find peace and be at peace, not in peace. You know.
And that's beautiful what you said.
So that's the whole sort of situation for me. I think that just sums up. So anybody for me who is at peace is technically in Islam. Anybody who is not at peace is technically, but that's just me going slightly hardcore.
That's beautiful. I love it what you said. Thank you for saying this.
So for me, that's the gist of it all. But thank you so much, man. This was like, wow. Like this was one of the most incredible conversations. Thank you so much, man. This was
for
really
your
awesome.
presence, Munib. Your presence.
Your presence.
And your presence too. This conversation can only happen with this mutual presence, which at the end of the day, we are all one. And that's where at peace to come to this conclusion. It's a journey. We are going through it. And thank you so much for always being there to talk, to listen, and to give this platform for people to come and share their art.
Oh my G, bro. That was really intense, man. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Okay. So, isko idhar hi end karte hain because I generally try to give like a closing thing, but I think today's episode was like a summary of what we really need to do. Like you just need to watch the entire episode because I don't think I can sum it up. I think by the end of it, everything that she was talking about needs to be heard. I can't sum it down. I can't summarize it. If you're lucky enough, you will watch this episode a couple of times.
They will find it. They will find it.
Someday.
There's a better... No. I believe that we are all जिस टाइम पे जो वक्त लिखा है जहाँ पे जिसको जो सुनना है जिसको जो देखना है वो हो जाएगा और वो होके रहेगा उसको कोई नहीं बता सकता.
Exactly. That's the whole game. So yeah, you know, that's it, man. Thank you so much, Naeema. Take care. Khud Hafiz.